Hello, everybody. Welcome to the latest edition of As Good as It Gets. I'm Rickey Hampton, along with former Nets shooting guard Derrick Gervin, coming to you on a Thursday evening. Hope everybody's doing great. Getting ready to head to the weekend. Man, it's hot and steamy in most parts of America, but we're gonna get through this, D.
Well, it's been a lot cooler here recently. We down to like 98. We had a little rain for a minute the other day, and we were getting all hundreds for like 13, for about like 15, 20 days in a row. So it's not too bad right now. It's manageable, I'll
You
say.
said you said down to 98.
Oh, yeah, we were 105, 106 for like 20 days in a row.
Woo-wee. And they say it ain't no global warming. Okay, okay. But we're not gonna get into that. We're gonna get into some other stuff and talk a little basketball. We got a lot of stuff going on. Hey, but you know what? I want to start the show off with a great story, I think, that took place a couple of days ago at the World Championship.
Does anybody else
in track? And it was a redemption of sorts with Sha'Carri Richardson. Well, let's just watch this for a second.
for what the Jamaican women have done to this event at Worlds?
On the far left of your screen is Sha'Carri Richardson in her first World Final. She has to get a better start than what she got in the semi.
She's got to have a much better start, because at least then she gives herself a chance. This is a World Championship final. You're not going to run down people if you give them too much of a lead.
The two Jamaicans in the middle, Shericka Jackson, and then Shelly-Ann Fraser-Price and Julian Alfred on their outside. Blue top, black bottoms.
Set.
Women's 100 World Final. The Jamaicans get out well. It's Shericka Jackson, Shelly-Ann Fraser-Price, Talu. Here comes Sha'Carri Richardson. Sha'Carri's done it. Sha'Carri Richardson has won the world title. She had to come from behind in the semi, but when it counted, she has done it.
Now, I'm going to stop it here because even more brilliant than her race was her reaction after she won it. I mean, let's just watch a couple of more seconds of this.
Sha'Carri Richardson has stunned the sprinting world and is a world champion.
That's a world championship record, a personal best, but short memory, Lee. After a bad semifinal, she recovered and ran the race necessary to upset the Jamaicans and wrest the world title back from Jamaica. It's back in the United States' hands for the first time since 2017.
That was the race of Sha'Carri's life, and she delivered. The United States sweep the 100-meter finals. Noah Lyles in the men's, Sha'Carri in the women's.
That was something. From the outside lane, she had to overcome 40 years of history. There's never been a man or a woman to make a final on time and then win the world title in the 100 meters. That's what Sha'Carri Richardson just did.
She's stunned. She's shocked. She can't believe it. Maybe the semi.
It took a minute for that to sink in with her.
Unbelievable, Ricky, and it gets me kind of emotional because I told you recently that I had talked to her godmother, and so I got a better understanding of the young lady. As we all know, she's come a long way, boy. I tell you, she overcame some adversity. As we all know, she was disqualified. She wasn't able to run, I believe it's 2 years now. 2 years ago, and she wasn't allowed to run. And then to see her, man, this is a culmination of all the things she went through in her lifetime. And you saw the elation in her face, man, and it was unbelievable.
Yeah, it really was. And to beat Sharika Jackson, one of the great sprinters of all time, and the Jamaican women have just been dominant in the 100 meters in recent years. It was just a fantastic run, and that it goes to show you, man, if you kind of stick with it and don't give up.
Hey, Ricky, she thanked all the people that were influential in her life too. All the things she had went through, and you could see it was sincere. She even did an interview with another lady, and I'm not sure the lady's name, but she told the lady that she will always do an interview for this lady, no matter what, and how the lady has rolled through with her through thick and thin, and how she, girl power. And how the lady's been true to her word about everything that she's ever seen, Sha'Carri's ever seen her do. And when she talked to this lady, she got this lady in tears, man, just by telling the lady how much she believed in her. And to see Sha'Carri reach the pinnacle. And she ran a pretty darn good time, too, Ricky, at 10.65. The record is Flojo, of course, 10.49. But still, 10.65 is phenomenal. And what better time to do it? So I want to send my congratulations out to Sharika, her aunt, and her grandma. They've all persevered, and I'm happy to see her at this point.
And Derrick, you competed at the highest levels in the NBA. I don't think a lot of times people realize the work and sacrifice that goes into preparing yourself to compete, whether you win or lose, whether you score 20 points or score 5 points. There's so much time and effort that goes into that, and to see it all come into fruition.
The mental part, I think, is always, in my mind, I won't say 100%, but the mental part is the biggest aspect. And to go through trials and tribulations, and a lot of times we don't see what goes on behind closed doors. So it's more to it than just running out on the track. And overcome adversity, I'll say. This young lady has been dragged through the ringer by a lot of media. She mentioned that as well. And now to see her stick with it, never give up on her dream. And the biggest part is when she went through her adversity, Ricky, if you remember, she said that she would be back. She would be back, not even back. She said she would be better. She wasn't gone anywhere. She said she would be better. And that's what she ended up being. And now she's the world champion, the 100 meter, the fastest woman in the world.
And at that level, because everybody is so good, man, you got to have everything in order. And like you said, mentally, everything, because it's just fractions of a second can separate you from first to fifth place.
Right. Hey, the strongest survive, right? And you saw her, if you look at it, it was a fantastic race overall. You see how close it was. It's about 4 or 5 people right there. Yeah. So to see her, but the emotion, Ricky, that was the best part. You could tell it wasn't fake. It's pure, genuine surprise, basically. And the comeback like she did from the semifinals puts the icing on the top. Congratulations, Sha'Carri. You earned it. You're number 1 in the world, and I see good things for you moving forward.
Yeah, for sure, man. And we're going to move on. And again, congratulations to Miss Richardson. We're going to be following her. I thought that was just so cool. But, man, we still got some hoops, even though we're in August. We got the FIBA games starting tomorrow. First round games start tomorrow. USA plays Saturday. You played internationally, Derrick, and you kind of saw firsthand how the sport began to grow. Whereas, back in the day, we could send 3 or 4 teams over and win a championship. But now the international play has gotten so much better. What are your thoughts on the FIBA tournament?
Man, Ricky, I wasn't fortunate. The one thing I didn't get to do was play in cup play. And that's what you're showing highlights of. I missed this part. This is the best part of playing ball overseas. And these guys, this is a different level than the games I played in. When you get into cup games, I mean, you really represent your country. And to see a lot of these guys have been together for years, as you know. They have camaraderie. And so, of course, we have a good team that we put together this year. But I'm telling you, these teams have experience playing together. They know the rules of the FIBA basketball. It's different than what we're used to, even as far as like slapping the ball off the rim and those kind of things. So we have some adjustments we're going to have to make, things we haven't even been through yet in these prior games, these 4 or 5, whatever games, they exhibition games. This is totally different, the real deal. We have our hands full. Australia is a team I'm mostly worried about, even though they have them rated number 3 and Spain rated number 1 right now. It's going to be tough, but I think these guys, it might take a little while. We play New Zealand, I believe, Saturday, and maybe that'll be a good game to get us started and see what we kind of look like and what we need to work on. But it's going to be tough.
Hey, Derrick, we're watching this game. This was played earlier in the week. USA was actually down 16 points in this game, and Anthony Edwards got hot down the stretch, and they outscored him, I think, 22-4 USA to pull away. You know, Germany had a good team. Struder's on this team, and he played great. Theus, the big guy from the play with the Celtics, is on the team. The Wagner from Orlando, the Magic, on the team. Germany was not bad, but you were talking about some of the young players, up-and-coming players, and we could start by talking about Anthony Edwards.
Hey, well, Ricky, let me say this. Though, while you're on that subject. Germany is rated like number 11 in this tournament.
Yeah, that makes
sense.
So
they gave us a big run. We overcame it, and we made our way through adversity. But that's just something to think about. We only beat them by 10, I believe, and they rated number 11. So yeah, we got some work to do.
And they're rated 11 with some pretty good NBA players on their team.
Yeah, it's really good competition. A lot of guys we haven't heard of. Some of these guys will even be in the league next year. So that's what's exciting about it. Some of these foreigners that we're watching, they will also be on their way to the NBA next season. It's very exciting.
Yeah. And talk to me a little bit. You were talking about who will be breakout players next year. Yeah. Well, and you mentioned Anthony Edwards already. I think he's ready. If you look at him in this tournament, you can just see his confidence rising. And he has all the gifts. It's just a matter of his mental aspect of him, how he comes out and performs mentally. To me, that's always been his only, I would say, handicap for him. So the way he's looking now, he looks great. Austin Reeves, who you just showed, is another guy I expect to do really well for the Lakers this year. I believe LeBron and AD, I think they know they can't win without Austin Reeves. He's become, like, to me, is part of, I call it the big three now, Ricky. I expect that much from him this year. Wow.
Oh, yeah. He's been playing. He's very consistent. He has a nice skill set, and he's very crafty. So I have to factor that in. And, of course, he can shoot the ball. He's good from three. He's good from mid-range. He can get to the basket. He can pass the ball. He has the total package. And I have to look at that, and I think he's going to be a great addition. He's going to be a better player, a new player this year for the Lakers.
That's Edwards they're going for with the left hand as USA made their move. Yeah, well, D, that's another good player.
Hey, Ricky, can I say who might be the best out of all of them? I'm not saying it's very happy right now, but potentially the guys that are currently playing. I'm not even factoring in Scoot Henderson and Wembanyama and those guys, Brandon Miller. Right now, Josh Giddey, Oklahoma City Thunder. He doesn't get the recognition he deserves because he's playing with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander And, of course, Shea averaged 30-plus this year and was first-team All-NBA. So that takes some of the spotlight away from Josh Giddey. But this kid, man, he reminds me of a Deadlift Shrimp type. If you remember Deadlift Shrimp, Ricky.
Oh, absolutely.
Deadlift Shrimp was an all-star level player. I believe Josh Giddey has the same thing in him. I think he has a very high ceiling. So out of all these guys I expect to have a breakthrough, I really expect Oklahoma City with Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, Josh Giddey, and this kid Jaden Williams. Watch out for the Oklahoma City Thunder.
And you didn't even mention Chet.
Oh my God! Well, I didn't even. Well, you know, for me that goes without saying. The big fella, I call him, Big Chet Holmgren. So all these guys are potentially can have a breakout year this year, because I think Shea wants to have a better year this year, Ricky, than he even had last year. So it's going to be interesting in Oklahoma City. There, Jalen Green in Houston and Jabari Smith, who I can't leave out, had an outstanding summer league. So they're going to be good. Shaedon Sharp, who I love in Portland. I mean, it's a lot of guys.
This is some highlights of another guy I know you like, Keegan Murray.
Oh, yeah, Sacramento.
Yeah.
What did I call him, Ricky? Your garbage, your lunch pail man. Your lunch pail man. Mr. Versatility. I thought he had a really good year in Sacramento last year. He shot well from three. He can defend. He's a total team player, and I see big things for him this year. I think Mike Brown will implement him, get him a little more involved in the offense, and he had a really good playoff when they used him. So I think he's going to have a breakout season.
Hey, have they done enough with this roster to I think they were the third seed last year. It was Denver, Memphis, and Sacramento, I believe.
The roster is not the problem. I think they got beat because of physicality. If you look at it, Draymond was kind of roughing up, and Looney, I can't leave him out. They kind of roughed up Domantas Sabonis. And, of course, De'Aaron Fox had a broken finger on his shooting hand.
Yeah.
So I think those things played a factor. I think their team is solid. I just think they need to tweak a few things. But I think the roster they have right now is going to be really hard to deal with again this season. I don't think they need to break it if it's don't fix it if it's not broken. So I believe in this team.
Yeah, they were 48-34 last year and had the 3 seed. And you expect Murray to be even better in his second year. So that's going to be interesting to watch.
Hey, Ricky, all the little things I talked to you about. You got to remember Harrison Barnes. Harrison Barnes had this series on his fingertips, and he missed an open three-pointer from the corner.
Yeah.
All those kind of things. And it came back to haunt them later in the series, if I remember. Steph or somebody hitting a dagger, or DiVincenzo, somebody. So it came back to haunt them. But Harrison Barnes, they had a chance to beat Golden State.
Here's another guy that has looked great.
Oh, boy.
Playing this summer. He's played some with the USA team. And he's a lot bigger now than he is in these clips from his rookie year, Derrick. And I'm talking about Cade Cunningham.
Well, I'm a fan already. I was a fan before his rookie year because, remember, I was watching him down here. He went to Oklahoma State. So I was already familiar with him. I thought he would have an all-star season last year, but that doesn't mean he was going to make the all-star team. I don't mean that. But I thought he would put himself on the map, put the Pistons on the map. And, of course, we know he suffered an injury. I think Cade has the full package. He's under control. He kind of reminds me of a Walt Frazier, a Clyde Frazier, one of my all-time favorite players as far as his disposition, Ricky. He's under control. He's a smooth guy. He doesn't seem to panic. Sometimes when I say this, I don't mean it in a negative way. You don't notice him out there sometimes. He lets guys shine. He's not worried about taking over, just dominating unnecessarily. And when the time comes, he's capable of taking over. So I think he's going to have a great year. And he's got some young guys. He's going to be pulling right along with him. And, of course, they have Monty Williams, my personal friend who I love. I think the Pistons are looking up, man. Things are looking up in Detroit in Little Caesars Arena.
And our buddy Rudy Campos is checking in. What's up, Rudy? Says Giddey is going to be a superstar. I think you agree with him, Derrick.
Yeah, I think Giddey's a whole package. I really think I think he's getting better. He has the handles. I would put right now, I don't like to go and buy, color and all that, but I'm gonna say this: if you look at the Jokic and the Luka, you got to throw Giddey in there. I think he's very talented, Ricky, and I like him. I think out of all the guys, he has the highest ceiling, other than maybe Chet and Victor Wembanyama. I think Giddey potentially could be right along with those guys, and I think very highly of him. And he's a team player, so that makes me love him even more.
I'm just reading here. This just came across the wire. The Lakers to unveil a statue of Kobe Bryant on February 8th.
Wow. What a perfect day. February 8th, on the 8th. That's great.
Yeah. Kobe Bryant considered by many to be the greatest Laker of all time when he retired in 2016. The team retired both his 8 and 24 jerseys, but now the team is planning on an even greater tribute to the legend. On February 8th, 2024, the team will unveil a bronze statue of Kobe outside Crypto Arena, the Lakers announced.
Wow, rest in peace, Kobe. That's well earned. The guy put 20 years putting the Lakers back where they belong. 5 championships, and he did so much more, even more than that. If you look at it, everything, and look at the game globally, Kobe is, everybody looked at him to be second, as some say it, behind Michael Jordan. If you really look at it, it's not a bad thing. So he had, he had a lot of tremendous things he's done. Kobe will never be forgotten. And I want to send congratulations to Vanessa and the family out there. Another tribute for Kobe Bryant, and to have 2 jerseys retired. Wow, Ricky. Not many guys have ever had that happen. Not anyone in sports, basically. So another tribute to Kobe, and I'm glad for you. Rest in peace, Kobe Bryant.
Hey, Derrick, let's get to James Harden here. James said Daryl Morey, who I thought was his guy, he called him a liar. He said he will never play for the Sixers. He said all of that about 2 or 3 weeks after signing an extension. Do you think Morey lied to him?
Well, he said
in Philly.
I think his time is done, but I told you that already. I thought it was 100% done even before this incident, remember? We had another show, and you asked me about Harden, and I said there was 0 chance that he returns. So this is just the icing on the cake. He says that Daryl Morey promised him that if he re-signed, that they would trade him immediately. And as we know, that hasn't happened. So that's where his anger is coming from. He feel like that's what he was promised, and he wants them to stick to it, and they haven't done that. So I don't know if I agree or not. It's not my place to agree or not on the way he handled it by going public and doing it from over in China or whatever. He was supposedly at a camp or whatever. But I can tell you this, they fined him $100,000, the NBA. But I don't know how that hurt James, because as soon as he went public, within a few minutes, he sold 10,000 bottles of his own wine over there. So, I mean, it's crazy. It's a crazy situation, Ricky. But Daryl Morey has to do something soon. You can't sabotage the rest of the team. Now you see Embiid's name has come up in trade talks. So something's got to be done, and to me, it's got to be done right away. You're taking a risk of losing your two most impactful players, and I don't think anyone wants to see that in Philadelphia. Daryl Morey is behind the 8 ball right now, and time is clicking, time is ticking.
Somebody asked Tyrese Maxey about Harden asking to be traded. He said, "Man, this isn't our first rodeo." Of course, he's referring to the whole thing with Ben Simmons. So the guys on the team, they're just gonna.
Well, hey, Ricky, don't leave out Jimmy Butler debacle.
Yeah.
So they've gone through a lot. At this point, you just roll with the punches if you play in Philadelphia. It's like a roller coaster ride. They keep saying trust the process, and they still have never gotten to the point where everyone could actually trust the process. So here we go again. But they better figure it out soon because the season is getting quicker and closer. Training camp, I believe, starts October the 3rd. So time's moving, and they got to make things happen for the betterment of the team. It's not about Daryl Morey and James. I think they've forgotten that. They got to reel that in, and they got to do what's best for the organization, basically. It's not what's best for James Harden. It's what's best for the organization. But right now, the longer they wait, I see the more Harden's value drops. And that's why I say Daryl has to do something now. The longer they hold it, let this drag out, the less James will have value.
Hey, the one thing I noticed in today's athlete, particularly today's NBA athlete, I mean, you get a lot more of this where guys they're able to just demand whatever nowadays. You remember Jimmy Butler demanded his way out of Philly, Ben Simmons, and now Harden. Is that because of the extraordinary amount of money these guys make now and the power of the Players Association and free agency? Because when you guys played, you didn't hear a lot of this kind of talk.
Well, the NBA created this, Ricky, the friend game, I'll say it. That's basically what it's become. These guys, social media does a lot, plays a part in it. These guys talk on all these media sites and communicate, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, you go on and on. So a lot of these times in the past, guys didn't have relationships a lot of times with these other teams. We didn't have all these methods of communication. So it was more separate. It was about your team. Today, guys are moving around. They're making a lot of money. The owners make a lot of money. So I can't be mad at the players for trying to go out and do what's best for themselves to acquire financial security. It just so happens a lot of old school people. I'm not the same like I used to be. I'm more old school, but I believe now these guys this is what the market is dictating. Guys aren't happy. They have a right to go somewhere else. I know a lot of the olders like Dr. J, Rick Barry, who guys that we've interviewed, they don't like it so much. Just putting together super teams, as they call them. But I'm kind of trying to be a little flexible and change with the times a little bit. So I agree with it somewhat, what's going on today. But that's what the league has created. So we just got to kind of ride with it until it plays out.
Yeah. And Kevin McHale kind of jumped into this too, man.
Yeah.
He basically said that Harden got him fired down in Houston.
Well, I mean, what does he want us to say? I think that was public knowledge way back then. So it's not like he's saying anything new. Kevin's just trying to get some publicity, it looks like now. Who didn't know this, Ricky? It's not like they said earlier. What did you say? This is not the first rodeo. Isn't that what Tyrese Maxey said?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is James. James has been to Oklahoma City. Everyone knows who James Harden is. He's been to Houston. I mean, come on. This is what he does. He's been to Brooklyn. He's in Philly. Now he's trying to get out of Philly. So, I mean, this is nothing new. So, Kevin McHale, tell us something that we didn't already know.
That's a good point, D. But my thing is he clear? I know the answer is yes. You can win a championship with James Harden on your roster.
Whew.
But can he be a critical piece to a championship team the way he plays?
Ricky, can you believe how much this question is asked about the same two guys, man, that played together, Russell Westbrook and James Harden?
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Two superior, talented guys that have come through that's going to be first ballot Hall of Famers. And the question is still, can you win with them? And there lies the problem. I'll say at this point, I don't think James will adjust enough. And the reason I say that is because this past year, he averaged 21 points, okay, which I thought was great. And I thought that's what he needed to average. I told Tobias Harris' dad that James needed to average between 18 points and 22 points a game. He averaged 21. I said he also should average about 9, 10, 11 assists, 12 assists, whatever. I didn't know that was going to lead the league, but that's what it ended up doing. So the guy averaged 21 points, 10.7 assists. He played fantastic, but yet he's still unhappy. So, and he was part of the reason they lost. If you remember, Ricky, game in the last game, where was James Harden? We didn't have a James Harden sighting. So he had 2 good games against Boston in the entire series. Against the last series, I believe it was it Boston?
Yeah, it was Boston.
That knocked him out. Yeah. So he had 2 good games, and you remember he had an explosion where he scored 40 plus.
At 40.
So, yeah. So other than that, the 2 games he was an invisible man. So I hate to see it at this point, but I don't know. Do you mortgage the farm for James Harden, Ricky? I'm asking you.
Not now. No. Not at his age. No.
He's not a superstar anymore. He's still a very good player. Top, maybe 25. But he's not a superstar. And I don't think James realized that anymore. And so Durrell has to come to that realization as well. I don't know if Durrell has come to that realization. So they got to make a move quick. This is holding up the NBA. A lot of moves won't be made until something goes down with this Philadelphia situation. You got a lot of free agents that still are unsigned.
Yeah, well, we've talked about him before. Now that you mention that, I mean, we still got a situation with Damian Lillard, who I think at this point in their careers, I think Damian is a far more effective player than Harden.
Well, Dame having to uproot sometime, we don't know about how that'll affect him, but I still don't know what's going to happen in Miami. And that's, he said he would be more flexible. But if you notice, this story has been kind of quiet lately. But we know that's got to happen because I don't see them playing together right now, Ricky, with Scoot and Dame. Scoot has already talked about being the rookie of the year. And usually you don't go out there publicly and say those kind of things unless you've been promised you're going to at least have a shot to go at a goal like that. And we know that wouldn't happen with Dame being in Portland. So I think this is just Portland dragging it out until they can get the best deal they can. And if they don't end up getting exactly what they wanted, they just want to get close to it. But I still think Dame's going to be moved. I just can't see him playing in Portland anymore.
That's going to look funny not seeing him in a Portland uniform.
You don't draft a Scoot Henderson for no reason. It's not like Scoot is a guy that you're going to bring along you could bring him along like a Tony Parker, because you remember, though, Tony Parker only sat on the bench like the first 6 games, and then Pop turned the reins over to him. I don't even see Scoot starting off like that. I see him starting off right away as a 35-minute a game guy, and that means without Dame Lillard. They'll probably still keep Anthony Simons, but I just don't see Dame being there.
Yeah, and we were talking about Rookie of the Year, and everybody has already given it to Victor Wembanyama. A big man is going to win it, but it's not going to be Victor.
Well, you putting me on the spotlight. You know how much I love. I just think Big Chet and Ricky, this is difficult, okay? It might just take a second. Victor Wembanyama, I believe, is going to be, like I said, Bill Russell type defensively, okay? But I'm going to kind of break down quickly the difference between these two defensively, I think, right now. I think Victor's a guy that's going to be great in pick and roll recoveries, getting back to the basket to still try to deny things at the rim. Okay, he's very long and all that, and he's very agile. But I think at this point, starting right now, if the season were to start today, I think Chet Holmgren is going to be better closer to the rim. Chet, right now, he has it down where you go up with 2 hands. And he goes up vertically with both hands up in the air. Right now, I think he's better than Victor at that. I think he's a little stronger right now. He put on about 13 to 15 pounds. He had the experience of sitting out a year and being able to watch, to travel around the league. All those things I think are going to factor in. He's worked really hard. He's practiced with Kevin Durant. He looked really good in the game they played in one of the summer league games. You can see him getting stronger. His confidence is growing. And so right now he would be my first choice, even over Scoot Henderson, who I originally picked for the Rookie of the Year. But I just think Chet's in a better situation. I think his team is going to be really good. And I think that's only going to add to his exposure and being seen and all that. And I think that's going to end up giving him, because I think Oklahoma City is going to be right there this year. And I think that's going to really help him as far as overall.
No, and you know what, D? I think you make an excellent point there, man, because him just having that year to watch the NBA game, even though he didn't play, to understand the travel, the shoot arounds, the expert. If nothing else, he learned how to be a professional, what it takes to be a professional basketball player. And that's valuable information to have.
And you add in, you throw in his IQ originally without even stepping on the floor. When he wherever level he played on, he's very high. He has a high IQ, so that's only going to add to it. And he's not a type guy that tries to take over either. So that's going to make it easy. He can focus more on dominating on the defensive end and just letting his offense come to him, because they have Jaden Williams, who's a really, really good player. And, of course, they have Giddey. They have Mr. Dort. So they have some players. It's just a matter of him relaxing, playing his game, and when he gets his chance offensively, he'll pick his spots. He's a pretty good shooter from the mid-range, from the free throw area. He can step out to the three. He's going to be a really good player in Oklahoma City. Once again, that's my Sacramento of this year, Oklahoma City.
I'm telling you, D, that no offense to the East, but the West, man,
Loaded.
It is loaded, man. It is loaded. You look at the Clippers. I mean, nobody's really even talking about the Clippers, except, Harden has been mentioned in trades out there. You got Golden State, you got the Lakers, you got Phoenix, Zion Williams. You remember before he got hurt, New Orleans was near the top of the division of the conference.
He looks in shape too, Ricky.
Yeah, and Oklahoma City, who was 40 and 42, you think about what they added. I mean, I could see them winning 50 games.
They added the young fella. I told you, Keaton Wallace played down here at UTSA 2-3 years ago. He actually passed a few of my records. He played 4 years here. He went on to he went to the G League this past year with the Clippers. His brother was drafted in the first round, Kason Wallace, point guard. And I think he's going to get a lot of minutes this year. So to me, they're loaded. This is a team that not a lot of people really got hip to. They got, they weren't on the radar until the end of the year. But, yeah, that's my Sacramento Kings of this season. And I see really good things. Mark Daignault, a heck of a coach. He was in the Coach of the Year voting. And I just think they're going to be a loaded team this year. They're going to be really tough for them, for a lot of these other teams. But watch out.
Hey, D, did he get your scoring record at UTSA?
Well, no, it was a guy above him. It was two guys, him and Javon Jackson, who was their go-to guy. And I told you before, it's amazing because Javon's granddad was George's coach in Spain. The 1 year George spent in Spain, he was coached by the guy whose granddad, granddad's grandson broke my record at UTSA. But I played 3 years, Ricky. I left a year early. I can't leave that out. So
right, absolutely. And you wasn't shooting out of threes back then either, right?
Nah, but I don't mind. Those are two good guys. So I know records are made to be broken, so I don't worry about it. My name's still up there, as you see my jerseys there forever. So I'm a happy guy, and I'm always happy to see other guys get their chance. And they did. They took their time, had their time, and they did well. They maximized their opportunities. So I'm only going to give those two guys credit.
Yeah, you're a good man, D. I don't blame you for that whatsoever. But yeah, man, the West is, my goodness.
Hey, Ricky, can I?
And you know, I'm sorry. Let me just say this.
I wanted to say you was talking about the West, but I wanted to go to this mysterious team while we got a chance, while we still on the air. Because you mentioned Philly. What about the Boston Celtics?
I like them.
I'm just saying.
I don't like the Celtics, but you gotta. I like what they've done.
We haven't really heard much. The last thing they done is they gave Jaylen Brown a 5-year, $304 million deal.
Yeah, that's a lot of money.
So
his sidekick is licking his chops.
Oh yeah, because he's up for like 320-something million. See, that's what I'm saying, Ricky. What you paying those two guys like that? How can you afford to put maximum player type guys around them? That's why I asked about Boston. I understand them wanting to pay Jaylen Brown, but you still got to pay Jason Tatum. But we still don't know the status, what's going to happen with that team as far as Robert Williams. How long is Derrick White going to be there? Malcolm Brogdon, who we know they traded, but it fell through. There's still a lot of stuff that unquestioned. So a lot of questions have to be answered in Boston.
But hey, they got this guy, D.
Well, there's one more of my questions. There you go. Okay, perfect timing. Now you lose Marcus Smart and you lose Grant Williams, but you have the addition of Porzingis. So now that tells me the style of play, of course, changes. So it's going to be a new style Boston team. But we got to see how that's going to affect Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, because those are two guys that have the ball in their hands the most. So those are the two going to have to make the biggest adjustment.
How would you play these guys?
To me, since you lost the defensive player, you have to play them like a big three. They have to pick up the pace, I think, offensively. We know Porzingis is a guy that's played on a team that wasn't so great in Washington, but he still put up 23 and 8 a game. He's capable of spreading the floor. You know, he shoots the three pretty well. He's really good rim protector. Actually, they don't talk about it enough, but he's really good. He's not a bad defender at all. You can put him in the pick and roll, as you see here. He can go one-on-one. It's just a matter of what style of play they're going to try to play with the new coach. Well, now his third year, so hopefully that'll kick in, Mr. Mazzulla. But I would play him as a big three and see how that goes. Pick up the pace a little bit and share the ball, share the wealth.
You know, in watching this, I also saw some highlights of Bradley Beal, and we hadn't talked much about how his presence in Phoenix. What's going to be the impact in Phoenix with Bradley Beal?
You hear the last thing I just said, share the wealth. Now he's going to Phoenix, but he's not going there as a first option or a second option because they still have Devin Booker and KD. So we know they're the first two. So they're talking about Bradley playing the point guard. So that's going to be interesting to me because that's not something that he's been familiar with playing with the Wizards. He's been a scoring guard all his career. And I'm also interested to see how this new style of play will affect him defensively when he gets a little frustrated, Ricky, from not getting the touches. And why I say that is because he talked about regaining his all-star status. He kind of had a fall-off year last year, even though he averaged about 22 points or whatever it may be. But it wasn't a Bradley Beal type year. So he talked about having an all-star year, which means he expects to have a breakout season like we've been talking about. But how realistic is that when you're playing with KD, Devin Booker, and DeAndre Ayton? So that's going to be something to watch, is how he handles that when he has a little adversity.
Yeah, because the touches are definitely going to go down. You playing with those guys, man.
Well, if he wants to win, like he went there, I believe, to win, right? So tells me right away he's going to be the first one that has to sacrifice. It's not like KD and Devin Booker are going to be expected to sacrifice. So it falls in DeAndre Ayton's hands and Bradley Beal. They're going to be able to have to mesh with each other, and the Torrey Craigs and the bench and all these other guys. Of course, they lost Cameron Payne, so there are going to be some changes. We still have to see what the bench is going to look like, but that's going to be a tough team. If you just look on paper, of course, they're going to be one of the top 3 or 4 teams that's going to be expected to win it all.
See, I wanted to get to this. Man, this is just a tough break for this young man. Alonzo Ball.
Oh, my God.
Is going to miss the entire season. But he says he plans on coming back strong for the 24-25 season. And then, you know, he came into the league, all the hoopla and, you know, brought on by his dad. But he came in and made himself a good player. Went to Chicago, had a good season there, improved his shot. Then he got hurt, and he just hadn't been able to get back on the floor.
Yeah, he's had a few setbacks. One of my favorite players when he was healthy. I was glad to see him continue to improve. I think he kind of got off to a rough start, but a lot of the players, the younger guys, I won't get it too far into that, but we know what happened in L.A. with the Brandon Ingram and Kuzma, that group, and Josh Hart and all those guys. So Alonzo, I'm a big fan. I was really happy to see him get traded to Chicago. I thought he looked well playing with DeRozan and Zach LaVine.
Yeah,
and he ended up being a 40% 3-point shooter, which is puts him in the upper echelon as 3-point shooting. So to see him have a major setback was disappointing. But I saw recently Stephen A. Smith made a comment about Alonzo basically being done, and he couldn't even get up out the chair and all of that. So I saw Alonzo in the video. Man, he was working, getting up. He gets up quite well. And he was doing basically like one leg squats, getting up out the chair, showing Stephen A. Smith he didn't know what he was talking about. So that's always a positive sign. Of course, he's going to miss this coming season, but I still think his career is not done. I still think he has a lot to give, and I'm just going to send my regards to him as far as getting well and learning some more this year as he's sitting out, and just continue to rehab and stay positive. Your time is coming again, Lonzo.
Yeah. And you know, that's the thing about some of the media today. You wonder if these guys understand the effort that it goes into being prepared to play. And I know everybody makes a lot of money and all that. But a guy gets hurt, that's the last thing he wants to happen is to get hurt. And you criticize him because he got hurt?
Fans can be cruel, Ricky. Anthony Davis, even when they start calling him what's that, street clothes and all that stuff, like you intentionally want to get it hurt, man.
Get hurt. Who wants to get hurt? I get that.
So I was glad to see the Lakers reward Anthony Davis with that $62 million a year. Shut people up. They can say what they want, but if you go by I think you got to go by guys what they can do when they're healthy, Ricky. Even like Zion. That's why New Orleans is so reluctant to give up on him. Because you don't want to let him end up getting healthy and going to another team, and then you looking back, you know, this could mess up your franchise. This could affect your franchise for years to come. So these guys, sometimes you can't be so hard on them, and the fans can be really cruel. But these guys work hard. If you look at it, they rehab. A lot of them are already financially secure, Ricky. So that there tell you they love the game, because AD's been hurt several times, but he continues to fight back. It's not like he needs the money. He loves the game. And anytime people love the game, that's what it's all about, I thought.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, one last thing about the West. I'm going to call these teams out, and you tell me how many of these teams can finish in the top 4 in that division. You got Denver, defending champs, Denver, Memphis, Sacramento, Phoenix, LA, Golden State, LA Lakers, Minnesota, New Orleans, Oklahoma City, Dallas, Utah, Portland, San Antonio, Houston.
Dallas must be the question mark, because you said them twice. So maybe I had them number 5 right now. We didn't even talk about them. But man, Ricky, this is you know I got Denver in there, okay? So we're gonna make it easy. The two teams that went to the Western Conference Finals, I have them both back in there. All right, they both back in the Final Four. So we're looking at Denver and the Lakers, right?
Yeah.
And then I'm going to put the third team for some reason. I have to put Phoenix in there, even because they still got KD. And then the third team, I'm going to have to surprise. It's not the Warriors because I still haven't seen them make a lot of additions to their team. I love Sacramento and what they bring, and Mike Brown coming off Coach of the Year. And I just love that team. I think De'Aaron Fox is going to have another breakout, excellent year. But I already said there's something about that Oklahoma City Thunder.
Wow.
So I got to go Denver, Lakers, Phoenix, and OKC is my top four right now at the top of my head.
Yeah. What about Utah?
I don't think they're no, I like Markkanen and Jordan Clarkson and those guys, but I don't think they have enough weapons. And so no, they're gonna have a rough time even getting in the play-in game. So there's too many other teams, the Dallases and teams like that, the Warriors, the Portlands, you still got the New Orleans. So you still got other teams that they're going to have to contend with. And then, it's going to be hard. There's a lot of teams you just named, and it's some teams are going to go backwards and some teams are going to go forward. Never forget that part. So it's going to be interesting. But, yeah, I would throw OKC as my fourth team right now.
And you don't know how injuries are going to play out
right.
and all that. But you're going to have some good teams down here fighting to get in the play-in in the West. Hey, before we get out of here, let's touch on the East. We talked a little bit about Philly and Boston. Milwaukee, they had the best record last year, but things didn't go well for them in the playoffs. Giannis got hurt. That hurt them. And Giannis said the other day that he wants to win another championship, and even if it's not with the Bucks.
Well, you look at it, he's not playing in the FIBA game, so he's going to make sure he's coming back 100%, it looks like. But I still worry about the Chris Middleton situation. Ricky, we haven't seen him be the all-star Chris Middleton going on 3 years now. So that, the ball's in his hands a lot. They didn't make like major additions. I know Brook Lopez.
And he's 32, and Chris is 32.
Yeah, and then Brook Lopez is getting up there in age. Yeah. So it's not like they didn't make a lot of major additions. Grayson Allen, I still believe, is there. They're a really good team. They still have Giannis, so of course they're going to be in the mix. But it's still, to me, the biggest thing is what's going to happen with Dame Lillard and the Miami Heat. That would be the thing to me that would upset the apple cart or whatever, and cause problems in the Eastern Conference with the Phillies and the Bostons and the Milwaukees. The Dame Lillard, Miami. A lot of people might think it was a fluke that they made it to the finals, but as you know, Ricky, it's the last man standing. So it wasn't that they were the strongest team mentally in the Eastern Conference. But if you throw Dame in there, that makes it a toss-up. And to me, that drops all the other teams a level if Miami were to acquire Dame Lillard.
Yeah, and Jrue Holiday's 33, by the way.
They're not getting any younger. That team is changed somewhat, man. I believe who did they add? PJ Tucker. And he averaged, because he was in Philly at first, I believe. I'm trying, but that team is was PJ at first, but they're not that good. If you look at their roster, Ricky, they have some Connaughton and those guys, but I don't know, man. And Giannis, if we look at it the way the season ended, Ricky, he finished terribly from the free throw line. So we know that's a factor. And then when you playing all of these teams and you pretty much equal, it comes down to the little things. The team, free throws is a big part of it as far as advancing. So it's going to be interesting for Milwaukee. Of course, they're going to be in the top four, but I wouldn't have them even maybe over the Knicks right now, to be honest with you.
Yeah, that I'm looking at their roster now. They have gotten old.
Quickly.
Yeah, they have. They got Crowder's 33.
And he didn't even play, Ricky. You know, he already is upset. He didn't understand why he didn't even play. Why did they get him? And with his last comments that I heard, why did they even get me?
Yeah, yeah. So that, yeah, I in the East, I like Boston, man. I know
What do you
got
think about the Knicks? I'm sorry, Ricky. What do you think about the Knicks?
Yeah, not enough.
Not enough. What about our Pistons? Playoffs?
I would love that.
What about playoffs?
Yeah, I think they can get in the play-in. Yeah.
I mean, realistically, I'm not talking like backing in, sir, like 9 or 10, and then you win that first play-in game, 9 versus 10. I'm talking, do you think our hometown, Detroit Pistons, can they actually go in as a 6 or 7 or maybe even higher seed?
I would love that, but no. But
no.
I think they're gonna be much better, obviously.
Wow.
They're getting Cunningham back, and he really looks good. The Thompson twin looks really good. Duran, second-year player, is outstanding. So yeah, I like what they're doing.
You basically know what's going to happen. It kind of reminds me down here with the young San Antonio Spurs. I'm saying the Pistons are going to win way more games than that. But the style of play, Ricky, what's going to happen is we're going to be very competitive, right? For like the first 50, 55 games, okay? And then, you know, that's when the inexperience is going to kick in as other teams are making their playoff runs. And every game matters. And that's what I think is going to happen to our team. I still could see us fighting for a playoff spot, but we're going to start off and surprise a lot of teams. And then we're going to hit, as they call, like the rookie wall. So, but we're on our way up.
Yeah. And what about the Hawks?
Oh, boy. Trae Young, 26-10, can't get any love. Wasn't even picked to play on the team. He was disappointed about that, not being named to the FIBA team. But I don't know, because what's happened with, you know, they've had a few moves they made. You know, that John Collins has been in the media for all this time. Capella's always up for trade. What additions have they really made? So we know that roster was not – they had a good team, but not a team that's going to scare anyone as far as advancing. They're a team that can scare you in a series, but they're not the type team that's going to go down to the Final Four in the Eastern Conference. So I don't really believe that much in the Atlanta Hawks. I think teams like the Knicks and Cleveland are better.
Yeah. I like Cleveland a lot. They are long. Hey, just a couple of minutes left. Any final thoughts?
Well, we're getting ready with the football season to start. So I'm going to ask you, now we reverse it. I'm going to be the journalist for a second, if you don't mind. I'm going to ask you about, because you keep up with football, down here in Texas. You know, we have a team that Stephen A. Smith gets on a lot and talks about, the Dallas Cowboys. What do you think, your true feelings somewhat? I'm not putting you on the spot trying to, but what do you think about the Cowboys and how far can they go with is Dak Prescott that guy?
I think he's good enough. If their defense is good enough, yeah, I think he can lead a team to a Super Bowl, especially if their defense continues to be outstanding. Because I don't think you need Dak to go out there and make the kind of plays Mahomes does in Kansas City. I don't think anybody. If we're waiting for somebody to do what that cat's doing, we're gonna be waiting.
But Rick, it doesn't seem like McCarthy realizes. If you know, Dak said he was gonna have less than 10 interceptions this year, right?
Well, that would help.
He had 9. He had 9 in preseason after about 4 games or whatever. It wasn't long before he had 9 in training camp. I'll take that back. So I mean, come on.
Do you think he's regressed? Is his injury?
I won't say he's regressed. I just think we know who Dak is now, and it's up to Mike McCarthy to make the adjustment.
Well, there you go now.
Yeah, that's the key. It's not Dak. We've already seen. Everyone knows who Dak Prescott is. I think he's a serviceable quarterback. I don't think he's a superstar, but that still doesn't make him a bad quarterback. I think he fits into this system, but the play calling is to have to be better. And that's what I think is, that's always a factor. We're not in the Jason Garrett days anymore, the 8-8 days. But Mike McCarthy has his own way of messing things up. He should have way more than one championship, I believe. And a lot of that I'll blame on him in Green Bay. So we need a little better coaching.
Hey, you know what? That's a good point, man, because we got a similar situation here in Detroit with Jared Goff. He is a good quarterback, but you got to put him in a situation and in a system that plays to his strengths. And that's what the offensive coordinator here, Ben Johnson, has done. And Jared has played well because they're asking him to do the things he can do. And the Lions have a good running game to back that up.
Yeah, but Ricky, let me say this quickly, though. Here's the difference, though, between there and here, right? You've heard me already mention Mike McCarthy 3 or 4 times, right?
Yeah.
What about in Detroit? Don't those guys believe in Dan Campbell now?
They love him.
Okay, there's the difference.
They love him. Yeah, that makes a difference. But D, I'm sure in your basketball career, you played with head coaches you didn't like.
Yes, but those head coaches, you know what? Bill Fitch was tough. But Bill Fitch is not going to go out on his shield without making adjustments, is what I'm saying. And you have some coaches that are just stubborn. It's their way or the highway. And if you look at it, Mike McCarthy now with him calling the offense down here. Come on, man. Be serious. You had trouble doing your job, whatever, already filling that capacity. Now you're going to add on another role to it. So I'm still skeptical about that part. They don't seem to have the organizational togetherness that they should have. And then the players are, we still don't know how they're going to respond in the heat of battle. So it's still too many questions for me. I like the team with the skill set, but the mental approach is still what I'm worried about for the Cowboys.
Hey, well, we're going to get into that, man. I'm excited about the start of football and college football. And before you know it, like I said, we got the FIBA games starting up this weekend. So, hey, we're on our way. Baseball heading down the home stretch. So we'll have a lot of to talk about going forward, D.
Well, they got Alexander Usyk. I can't leave that out. The heavyweight championship, Alexander Usyk versus Daniel Dubois Saturday. So let's go. It's going to be a barn burner.
All right, brother. Well, hey, we'll be back next Thursday for Derrick Gervin. I'm Rickey Hampton. Peace, everybody. Have a good night.
Ricky, I love you, man. Have a good night. Everybody, thanks for tuning in. Everybody, thanks for tuning in.
Thank you. Bye-bye.